Earlier this year, I kicked off a new style of feature devlog videos with a critical fix to my backface glass. The video was a huge success, and I've since released the glass in update 46 for Caelesti and in a new standalone pack, Caelesti Fenestra. Before I can call glass a finished feature, we need to take a look at glass panes. First off, let's get the simple stuff out the way. Currently, all the glass panes have no break particles, an issue that came about as a result of changing the texture locations when upgrading the glass last time. Each glass pane has 6 model files: post, side end, side, corner, junction, and cross. If we open the F3 menu in game, we can see that glass panes have 5 booleans, one of which is for waterlogged, which we're not bothered about. The other 4 indicate whether or not the glass pane should connect in that cardinal direction. The block state recognizes the directions that should connect, and one of the 6 model files is used and potentially rotated to ensure that the glass pane always connects to neighboring blocks or further glass panes. In order to get the particles working, I just need to go through each of the model files and adjust the directory for particles to target the new custom glass breaking texture. Just like that, glass panes have break particles. Currently they're the wrong color for some of the glass panes, but we'll sort that out later on. The panes are currently using the old set of colors, and so we'll need to update them to use the much nicer palette that I picked out in the last video. Before we get onto that though, I want to ask you a question. Should glass pane backface? Even though many people seem to completely miss it, the unique selling point of my glass was that you can see the rear face from the front. This gives glass a completely unique appearance when compared to any other block in the game, and I quite like it. Does the same concept work for glass panes though? Let's find out. Clear and stained glass function slightly differently, so I'll be creating a mockup for both. First off, regular glass. In their current state, clear glass panes can be used to construct a very thin, opaque column, but as soon as multiple glass panes are placed next to each other, they start to connect using CTM. There's a unique texture which is used whenever glass intersects at a junction or cross, and another which is used when freestanding glass panes come to an end without connecting to a neighboring block. Each of these variants of texture are targeted by their own full CTM tile sheet, and we'll need to create additional tile sheets for each of the backface variants of those textures. Since the clear glass pane post is opaque, we won't need to adjust its model at all. I'll start off then by adding backface elements to the standard horizontally connected glass pane. You can already get an idea of how this system will work, and also how the connected textures are really needed to complete the effect. I've gone ahead and added backface elements for the side end, corner, junction, and cross, and now we need to fix the internal glass textures and the associated CTM tile sheets. I'll start out by cleaning up the models, which means redirecting the internal textures, removing the CTM altogether. For the sake of consistency, I'm once again making sure that the small flecks within the glass texture match up when viewing the material from either side. After that, I'll make sure that the inverted elements are culling correctly, ensuring the same behavior as regular glass. Now for the new internal CTM. I'll start out with a template for the full CTM method, copying the relevant glass texture and adjusting it to fit each scenario. CTM tile sheets must be separated into individual numbered files, and in the last video, I made the mistake of doing all of this manually. Ewan was very quick to remind me that Winem exists, and I should definitely make use of it.
Oh my god, Winem mentioned.
Winem is an advanced Discord bot designed with resource pack features in mind. By using the CTM split command, I can take the convenient tile sheet and automatically separate it into 47 individual files. And just like that, the internal glass CTM is the wrong way round? I have absolutely no idea why this is happening, but for whatever reason, every internal glass CTM file is essentially swapped around. As a quick test, I've swapped around these 2 files, which make up the top and bottom part of the vertical CTM section, and it's working perfectly. Rather than go through every single file, identify the pairs, and swap them around, I'd rather make a new CTM template for specifically this. What a pain. Now that I've swapped around all the textures, it appears to be working fine. 1 down, 2 to go. I had no issues making the side texture, but the cross one really threw me off. The way I've constructed the models, the cross texture isn't actually used on an inverted cube, so I ended up having to remake the entire tile sheet without the mirroring that I discussed before. I then realized that I had the UV maps completely wrong as well, and the CTM simply wasn't working, so 3rd time lucky, I guess. I hate a glass pane cross texture, as no man ever did before. One final thing before we move on to stained glass. I didn't expect this one at all, but since the glass pane post has vertical CTM, that same vertical CTM is applied on the internal texture, and once again the CTM is flipped. This one was a lot easier to solve, but looking at this particular texture so much has made me all the more keen to change it in the future. I'll save that for update 47 though. Right now I want to show you the 2 different approaches side by side. An argument could be made that glass panes are simply too thin to benefit from the effect. The increase in detail also results in specific corners looking particularly noisy. A number of people have asked about the bottom face culling against the ground, but unfortunately, the same system that culls this face also culls the bottom face from all glass panes. Removing it looks rather feckless. It's worth considering how glass panes actually appear in context. Once this video goes live, you'll be able to find a poll on my posts tab. You decide how the glass panes of Caelesti will look. Whilst you open my channel in another tab and vote, let me get started on stained glass. The old stained glass had a really simple color palette, but but in order to match the revamped stained glass colors, stained glass panes will have to get the same palette upgrade and overall increase in detail. First off, I've updated the model files. I was trying to find a way to have a single universal parent model for clear and stained glass before realizing that for whatever reason, the particles produced by the glass when broken, mined, or fallen on are always that of the post model. This actually makes things much easier because it means all the glass models except post can use a single parent. The glass pane post model will be unique for each type of glass and include the appropriate particle reference for that type or color. Next up, I'll have to create a whole set of new textures for the stained glass panes. For the purposes of this demonstration, I've decided to go with magenta. I can copy all of the clear glass models, update the textures to reference magenta instead, and then create the new files needed for the backface system. The original stained glass panes were intentionally more simplistic to minimize the workload, but these new ones with the same level of detail as their full glass counterpart are looking really good. Now for the CTM. I've started out by copying all of the missing CTM from the clear glass and applying it to magenta. The clear glass panes only needed new CTM tile sheets for the backface elements, but the stained glass panes are going to need considerably more work. Luckily, I can reuse the full glass CTM for the side segment, but the cross, end, and post, along with their inverted counterparts, are going to need completely new CTM tile sheets. The inner and outer versions of the post texture aren't so bad as they only use vertical CTM, but for the cross and end textures, I've got no choice but to create 4 entirely new tile sheets that will serve as templates for the other types of glass later on. I've found it's easier to create the tile sheet using only flat colors, adjusting the dynamic transparency afterwards. Once again, I can use Winem to split the tile sheets into the appropriate files. As soon as the tile sheet is finished, I'll replace the clear glass CTM and we're one step closer to the final product. This process is very time consuming, but I can hold on to each tile sheet for later as it'll be relatively easy to duplicate and recolor them for the other types of glass. All that's left to do then is create all the necessary tile sheets, split them into the correct format using Winem, and you should be able to get a good idea of how stained glass panes are going to look. Since this is going to take quite some time, I think I've earned a short time-lapse segment. Wish me luck. And there it is, backface stained glass. I think it's actually looking really good. I'm really happy with this. We do have one slight issue though, other than the fact that I haven't done any of the item textures yet, but the cross texture is really not playing well, and I'm really disappointed with this, to be honest with you. I didn't expect this at all. I have run into issues like this before whilst doing resource pack stuff, but what's kind of going on here is that because the same texture is being rendered in so many places, I think the game is just kind of choosing not to render certain ones because it thinks that I wouldn't be able to see them. Something like that, I don't know. I'm so disappointed. You kind of have to keep in mind just how much is actually going on here. We have translucent textures, inverted cubes, and CTM all being stacked on top of each other at the same time. The game is not built for systems this complex. I believe it may be possible to fix this sort of issue with internal shaders, but frankly, I have no idea how to use those. Lucky for me, this video is probably going to be seen by quite a few people, so I'm really hoping that someone out there can point me in the right direction. If you happen to know what I need to do to prevent this issue from happening, let me know in the comments below. Regardless of that though, I'm still going to put it to a vote. This specific scenario is so rare and so easily avoidable and may end up getting resolved naturally in the future as the game updates, so what do you guys think? Backface glass panes or nah? If you haven't already voted, you can head over to my community tab now where you'll be able to find the poll. Either way, I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope you learned something new. Before I finish up, I recently hit 20,000 subscribers, which is a massive milestone. I know every YouTuber says this, but I really never thought I would hit those numbers, so thank you all so much. I really hope you're enjoying watching the development of Caelesti. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take care and bye-bye.